Hey, everybody, family, members, EESystem people, lovers of connected to the world. We bring you one more point of insight. With us today, a young man, focused and appears directed toward what he wants to go and achieve, and framing it in a name for himself to advance that. And a lot of times we all need some motivation to take a good look at ourselves, how we framed and named ourselves, and maybe lost a little of our cause and maybe a little of our way. And let's see where Ra of Earth is today. Hey, Ra.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
And thank you for being here. So our audience understand, give us a little background, a short background on
Okay.
you, and then what led you to become light to the earth.
That's exactly what I believe I am and everybody else as well. I used to own gyms in downtown LA. So for 10 years I had a few gyms, and through that process I started studying the human condition and the human being, mostly in terms of performance, but I did go to school for psychology, so I have a pretty well spectrum of what it is to be human, how the mind works, how the emotions work, and then how that all plays out in a physical field. And I ended up getting injured, but I was still competing. So it was a very competitive type of sport that I was in. I was doing CrossFit, and I was one of the top few hundred in the world. And because I played hockey my whole life, I walked into that injured. Through CrossFit, I got even more injured, so I quit working out. And at the end of the year, when we would have competitions, I would just, for the heck of it, decide to sign myself up. And I would continuously, year after year after year, be top in California without training. So we're talking 10 months not touching a barbell. And then I would go to a competition where we're using heavy weights, high intensity, and I would outperform even my own athletes that I was training. I trained other gym owners, and I was outperforming them, and that wasn't making sense to me. How can I not be using the tool that makes my athletes and myself stronger, but still perform at a high level?
Because it's an electrical level.
Exactly.
Where your Ra part, which is the sun, it's Egyptian and for the sun, is more powerful than the physical body, which is just an array of energy. Do you know something? Thank you, because we at EES, which is a system that helps people integrate themselves into the cell, the cell, you have 30 billion cells. And in those 30 billion cells, they're all talking to each other because scientists can record those conversations. We're trying to get a way that people can integrate themselves into the conversation with their cells from a conscious mind point of view. Okay? Where all the other systems are going, where all the other invasive natures are going, we're trying to create a way that they can integrate in conversations with themselves that makes it easier to get motivated to achieve it. So listening to you, you sound like an ADHD adrenaline junkie driven to be successful at the point of killing himself. So my question in this from the psychological point of view was, who were you trying to please, and what was the nature of competition to hurt yourself to be able to compete and to stay in that social, psychological, emotional place of identity?
That was from bullying. I'm a small person. I went into middle school and high school and got picked on. And so I played hockey. I was a fighter. My whole being was about hurting people and being better than people.
Welcome to the family, son.
Yeah.
I know that nature myself.
Right. And it was amazing. But I got to the end of that and I realized at about 35, I was like, who am I without being the fittest person in the room? And so I quit training, and it's been about...
But you said you'd already quit training.
Well, I was still competing. So I discovered
the energetic mindset was still there.
Right. I discovered that the reason why I was doing well was because I was just outside a lot. And so in the light, on the earth, and
grounded
breathing.
With vitamin D3.
Yeah. And this was before anyone was really...
Conversion ratio.
Right.
The fastest way to ground and change and light up your cellular structure is your feet on the earth, sending love, not receiving, but sending love. and being with the sun on your face with D3, the photon charge that lights, it takes the atmosphere around you and lights those cells up
Yeah.
so you can absorb more. That makes sense.
And what we measure in CrossFit is power output.
Yep.
And so that's what I closed my gyms because I was like, working out indoors is not the greatest expression and the greatest way to achieve power. There's other ways. I essentially studied my way underneath fitness and realized that exercise isn't necessarily the foundation of fitness or even health. And it's the elements. It's what we find outdoors.
What you do within that. I think that's brilliant, and I hope everybody. Once you leave a EESystem program, we are big on people detoxing, and I want to ask you about it.
Okay.
Listen to what Ra is saying, and listen to that experience, because some of you will notice that when you leave work or you leave the center to go to a park or something and ground yourself, because listening to what he's saying, I relate to it, so maybe you should relate to it. So listen to him from this place. Keep going, sir.
The detox of the mental chatter and is also very, very important. And I was glad to weave back into psychology and how that helps the body be more integrated to utilize the energy of, like you said, the universal energy that's all around us. And so that's kind of what I do now is I help people to weave together their psychology with their emotional body and their physical body. And I do practices where we combine things like chanting and breathwork and movement and psychological journaling exercises so that we can start facing our traumas and
Okay,
reprogramming.
So hold a second, because I'm always focused on our people, the people on the other end of this, the owners and the people who come to our stores and the
Yeah.
people who experience and that. So I'm always focused on them. And I am 100% in support of what you're saying. Okay. But first, give everybody a brief run. Give me whatever the time period, 3 days, 4 days, a month, whatever that time period is. And quickly through the exercises in that day that helps them motivate to gain power through the system that you're describing. That's absolutely true. I know it works. I was saying D3 from the sun, but I know what it does. And grounding on the earth, I know what that 7.82 hertz does in balance. And then the digestive system is halfway through it. So what you're eating and how clean it is and how the quality of the water that you're taking in, your prayers and your attention will achieve those goals. Okay, but in your course, which you're doing the same thing, but the art of what I'm feeling and hearing you say becomes as important for my listeners to hear. So give me when it happens, where it happens, and the steps that cause it to happen so that they can get mentally involved. Please, sir.
Yeah. It's really the identity. It's the choice of identity, of identifying as a whole, sovereign, holistic, healthy, or smart, or whatever type of person you achieve to be. And achieving that identity comes with practice. And practice works when it's consistent. And so for me, what I like to do is produce a new practice every week and have somebody repeat that same exact practice up to 7 times during the week. And when you repeat a practice, whether it's yoga, meditation, breath work, a lot of people like to vary things often, but when you repeat it, you actually see yourself changing around the practice. And when it comes to something like journaling, if you journal your desires or you journal about a relationship with your father from when you were 6 years old, a lot of people think just do that once and then, you get the benefit. But if you do it today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day, you start to really uncover things that you never really was there. And I think the magic is in some sort of consistent repetition. That's what practice is. If we were practicing on the piano, we wouldn't just learn one chord today and move on to the next. You practice it until you really understand the roots of like where this stuff is coming from inside of you.
Okay, let me tell you how it works.
Do it.
Okay. Everything is based, the outer nature of this construct that we live in a physical reality is driven by the word desire. Okay. And then that desire is what everybody in here does. It's what motivates every single being. Okay. Desire. If it's a grasshopper, the law says it is desire that motivates it. And whatever desires are. Second, the secret is the power of the value. What value do you place upon it in an art form? Because if I came over there and thumped you, the thump would disappear. It wouldn't be a thought. It didn't hurt. But where the game was the value you placed upon that thump. Was it loving? Was it intention? Was it celebratory? Was it appreciative? Right there. Okay. So once that value is established, the nature of the observation of your desire and the plans you make to achieve it is what the divine law, 3 levels of energy from right here, sees to empower you. Okay? So it's a system of doing it. So when you're putting people in those places and you use the term desire, so that means you know the inner law.
Desire, that word actually like comes from Latin desidere, which translates to from the stars. And so there's a very big distinction between desire, at least from the way I use it, and wanting. Want comes from vaunt, which is a lack.
But you use the word. Watch what I corrected you, and then the moment you did it, I just lock in. I'm like a real old one of you.
Yeah.
You know. So once you hit those terms in those places, to understand how to own your own life is living in it and grounding and understand that it is your desire. And most people relate that to sexual, okay, or winning the lottery, okay, but that just tells them how crazy they've gotten. And so I'd like to see what your program is, and I'd like to be able to present it to our audience and give me one more time what would be required of one of our people or our team of our people to go through this program. Do you do it on the internet? It's an internet program. It's a Zoom program.
It's selfexpansion.app is the website, and it's about expanding the concept of self from this internal me identity to how far out can we expand this? Can we expand this to this room, to the trees, to the earth, to the universe?
The trees talk to each other so they can tell.
Yeah.
We now know that trees talk to each other.
Right.
Think of this. When you're outside and you think you're alone, the damn trees are talking about you.
Yeah. They want to they want to have a conversation with us.
Yeah, trying to figure out a way. Okay, so Ra of Earth. And tell me your website again.
Raofoearth.com is where you can find the link to selfexpansion.app.
Okay, raofoearth.com. Thank you so very, very much. I mean, for doing this and sitting down and being you and finding your way to help so many people in this age group where you are, which I know, to really follow what you're saying. The breath is the most powerful thing. Understanding and controlling the breath is the most powerful thing. And the other thing is trace minerals and basic nutrition. Why? Because the body has desires, and it desires to be happy. And what it takes to convert things in the body, compound enzymes and solution reactions, it has to have something called minerals. Okay, and basically in most of these packages, there are 66 base trace minerals. That means so many parts of the body is happy. And it's not, and it allows you to focus and pull inward more spiritually because it is celebrating and happy, maybe a little endorphin release and happy. So I would add this to your system. People are salt batteries.
Right.
And you know this, but you add it to when you're talking. People are salt batteries, and you know they have to have salt electrolytes, and they have basic trace minerals for the body to function. And if the body does not have it, then all the desire of what you're doing will be insufficiently achieved for the lack of not doing in the system to structure it properly to see achieve your goal.
Right.
Okay, so we will put this out, and we'll make sure we have you, and we'll send it to you, and you can use it because it was really good. So thank you so much for being a part of our day and being a part of our life and making us proud, like some of us who are grandfathers, but to be proud of their children and maybe see their grandchildren and finding that path.
Yeah. It's the
Thank
meaning
you.
of life. Yeah. Honored to be here. I'm a fan of yours.
Oh, thank you.